Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another PCM test and repair. Well, I will still have to call the customer. I already check it out. This is a 2003 Ford F-150 Super Crew Lariat four-wheel drive. The customer concern is crank no start. So he sent me a description in here. I'm gonna read it. And that's what that page is in here. It says. The vehicle is a 2003 Ford F-150 Lariat with a big number in there, which I have the last digits in there, KC12323. The issue is a crank not start condition as I described in my email to you. On initial crank, it will not start. Data stream shows pads are enabled but no RPM crank signal. After initial crank, I leave the ignition on for approximately 20 seconds or so, and it will start. This is also confirmed with no lights at ignition coils and injectors, no signal at initial cranking. After turning the engine off and restart will again not run with no signals. Pattern seems to be consistent with the 20 seconds or so after each initial crank, with ignition left on before restart. Only code present is P1000. That is not completing, like reset falls and so on, right? So key on, engine off, and key on, engine running. Also, when it runs, it doesn't install or exhibit any drivability issues. Check and verify power and ground and crank and cam signals to PCM and connectors are consistent during cranking. It behaves like a diesel. I have also included a key with the PCM, which I do need. That is to, if I have to program the pads for the um, instrument cluster, then I have to do that. So, well, first, before I connect the scanner, which I have ready to go, I want to reproduce his concern. I have the full probe ready to go with the correct signal into there. So I'm going to, well, first, I want to provide the ignition in here. Again, this is the only way that I can do it here. And I'm going to provide 500 RPMs, even though nothing is power on. But when I power this on, it will be like you are cranking the car at 500 revolutions per second or so. It should read RPMs, right? And this is the way that I always test this system. So power on. As soon as that comes back, that should be reading immediately RPMs, and it's not. So this is exactly his concern, and I'm very familiar with this. I am an expert on these computers, and I have a 100% success rate repairing them. This is on the Ford Lightnings and all the SBTs and everything, right? So, all right. So if I leave the ignition on right now, as we're talking, and I put the RPMs to zero right now, let's give it like 20 seconds or so, as he described. If I go back to 500 and I go here to 500, oops, sorry. So 500 and I hit enter. If I had to click in here, now we have the RPMs. You see, like immediately response. So this is exactly the behavior that we are experiencing. In the other hand, if I turn the computer off, right, that is still there. And I want you to see that because that's exactly the same test that I'm going to perform when I repair it. So if I come back and try to crank it, I got still the signal in there, the crankshaft position sensor signal, but there is no response from the instrument cluster as far as RPM. So I can definitely 100% reproduce your concern. Nolan, I forgot to say this is from Nolan R in California. So let's connect the scanner. Now we know that we can reproduce this to make sure the computer talks, which is not his concern. Again, the last digits of the big number will be KC12323. KC1, 2. I'm missing a 2 in there. KC1, 2. Right, so 4, KC1, 2, 323. So I'm missing a 2 in there. But yeah, so this is good. So we're going to go into quick access because you will see that the scanner, okay, you see by itself without me doing nothing. Now I read the RPM. So this is very good. All right, so let me do that again because I'm going to do one more test. So I'm going to leave the signal in there. I'm going to power off the computer because I didn't see this before on his. So we're going to power on the computer. We got the signal up there, hasn't changed. instrument cluster, not reading RPMs. So in the meantime that I was talking to you guys and connected to the scanner, I want you to see that signal. It's a little glare in there, but I think you guys can see it, fine. So I'm going to, oh, right there. You see? By itself, it read the RPM. So this is like you cranking, cranking, cranking. Of course, this cannot be happening in the car because you will burn your starter. But I can do that and reproduce the signal in here with no issues. So the concern that he has, 100% reproducible, and we can see that something is warming up in the computer and it reads the signal finally. But this is very common on these computers, and I have narrowed it down to the analog to digital converter, flash, memory. I mean, it's a lot of components that needs to be replaced. This is, old computers 2003. We're talking about 21-year-old computers, so I replace capacitors and diodes and circuitry that is involved into those signals, especially specifically for the crankshaft position sensor signal. I have plenty of videos showing this on the on them. So if you want to visit, I have a playlist for the F-150s, and this is exactly what we experienced. So the main reason I wanted to do this on the scanner is to make sure that we got communication and we can see, and that's what I was saying before, that even when the cluster is not detecting the RPMs, the signal is definitely present. So let me try to do that. I'm going to try to do it quickly because we can definitely reproduce this really quick in here. If I turn this off and I turn it back on, I didn't lose at least the communication in here, but we can see that there is no RPMs in there, which it should. This is exactly his concern. He turned the car off and then it happens again and again every single time that he turned the car off. It has to be, you see, it's now the computer is getting warmer and it's taking less time. If I cool down, it will definitely be more or easier to see. So we go over to PCM. And I'm not going to read codes because I got nothing connected to the computer. So we can select here supercharge, which I think it is. I haven't really even run the bean, so I'll have to run the bean to make sure that we're doing this properly. But all my concerns in here is to see data, make sure the computer logic is correct, and that's all I really want to see. All right, so in here, we're going to go over to battery positive and that, and engine RPM, right? That's all we really want to see. We are concerned, energy and revolutions per minute. So as per now, we're exactly in 500 RPMs as I have right there. So we can see that that is indeed happening. If I turn this off, we lose that communication briefly. Let me try to reconnect, and we can see even though the signal is present, no RPM and no RPM. So this is a very easy way to reproduce a concern. And now we got RPM without me doing nothing. So this is exactly his concern. All right, Nolan. So I will contact you shortly, give you an estimate for repairs, and go from there. All right, guys. Stay tuned. Be right back. All right, guys. I performed the repairs. I spoke to Nolan. He approved the repairs. This is not a turbo F-150. This is just a regular, normal aspirated vehicle. All right, so let's do the test one more time after the repair. So got everything off. I'm going to do in the normal procedure or sequence of what I do things. So I'm going to turn this on. We will see that that is no signal in there. I'm going to put terminal 15 and we're going to go around 15 or 450 RPMs immediately reading. All right, so but you'll say, well, maybe it was not enough time for the computer to react. Well, I'm going to turn this off as I did before, leaving the signal in there. And then as soon as that thing is on, I mean, it's instantly, all right? Turn it off, turn it back on. You see, it's instant. So turn it off, turn it back on, comes on instantly. Turn off, turn it back on instantly. It will not even be enough time for me to reset the scanner when the RPM is already there. And I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. I mean, the scanner doesn't even lose communication. You see this? I'm going to put this in a graph so we can see that more vivid because I'm going to turn the car off. So, all right, so you will see that the lights in here, turn car off, and we lost it in there. So we lost it in. I wasn't fast enough, but you can see immediately. I'm doing it in like 2 3 seconds, right? So this is like a you turn the car off and you cranking right back on. You see, in this time I didn't lose the communication. We see the RPM, boom, immediately coming back. All right, I'm going to do it pretty quickly. The scanner didn't even notice, and I hope do you see the signal right there? So I'm going to turn it off. You see it's lost the communication or lost the signals. Nope, I guess something happened. I blew the fuse. No, now I have no power here. I did something. Wait a second because now I got no power in here. Yeah, I have to reset my box because I lost the power from doing so many times the power on and power off. But yeah, as you guys can see now, this computer is just starting immediately. I mean, I am doing the power off as we saw before. As soon as I power on, the cranking RPMs are there instantly. All right, Nolan, your computer is ready. Thank you guys so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any problems with a Ford F-150 that is a long cranking or something like that, don't hesitate. Just contact me. Again, go over to my website. Let me just make sure that I show you that. So you just go over to Mike Salazar Diagnostics. Again, MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com, and then click in here, contact us. That will start your email um, application, and then you can send me an email. And this is a shipping address that you have in there. If you want to scroll down, because this is a full website, you can see more information, pictures of repairs, other repairs and services that I provide. And then I also have a link to the latest videos that I have in YouTube in my website here. You can also click the form and you have my email and telephone at the bottom with the address, and you can submit it right here if you want to do it like that. This is just a map so you understand where I am located in case you're local. If you're not local, I will just recommend you to just do what I said in the beginning, which is the easiest way to contact me with this form in here. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye bye.